what category that was
Yeah,
under?
it is branded civil rights champion.
Uh-huh.
It's an award that we should not be winning
Mm-hmm.
of more than 10 years. I think we are now about 15 years
Yeah.
since the new constitution came into place.
Mm-hmm.
We should not be fighting for human rights. It should have been implemented, and such this kind of awards are really outdated awards. That people are still fighting for human rights today is a very sad thing for us in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is an award that is not a celebration of Kenya, but a condemnation of the Republic as having failed to live up to the promise of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. And so it's very sad. I'm also holding here the Runners Up Award for Mr. Boniface Mwangi, which I collected for him. And I think if Mwangi was there, would also say that really we should not be fighting for human rights, which are which are entrenched in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And the government has had 15 years to implement that Constitution. The fact that people still are struggling and we have seen the Gen Zs dying on the streets and what have you is a big condemnation of this country. So I accept the award, but I don't celebrate it because it's an award that tells us that we have failed. We thought that when we got the new constitution, we'd move on to do things that are productive. Fighting for human rights is not productive. They should never be fought for. They should just be enjoyed. They are God given. They should be enjoyed. We should be giving awards in industry, in scholarship, in enterprise, but not awards in human rights. Awards in human rights are a sad statement on where the country is.
Uh-huh.
And so, whereas I accept the award, I don't celebrate it. And I hope we'll get to a point whereby human rights will never be a category to be awarded because human rights will be enjoyed by everybody by law and will not need anybody to champion anybody's human rights. That's what I would celebrate. The day we don't have an award in that category. But sadly, we must have an award in that category because people are fighting and people are dying, and we have seen young people die. And I pray that God delivers us to the promised land. If you look at our national anthem, doesn't mention human rights. It mentions food. It mentions liberty. It mentions those things. So if we get that, then maybe we'll be okay. But it means that we have a big job to do.
15 years down the line, what hope should Kenyans cling on?
The hope is that we have the constitution. Nobody has suspended it, and we have to implement it. And I think the struggle we have to do is to implement it fully. And the only thing that can get us out of the hole and give us a way forward is the implementing the constitution as it is. Yeah.
And Mheshimiwa, if you get, let me say, if you're given a day to be our president here in Kenya, what is that one thing that you will change?
A day might be too short, eh? Because the day will be taken up by the swearing in ceremony. So,
Let's say,
but what needs to be done,
yeah.
that even Ruto can do today, is to implement the constitution with a clear focus on the following key areas. First of all, is on the Bill of Rights, to make sure that the rights of people are protected. Two would be on integrity in leadership, to make sure that these people are stealing are dealt with, people are wasting public resources are dealt with. That is chapter 6. Bill of Rights was chapter 4. Next would be chapter 7 for me, to make sure that we set up a mechanism for holding tamper-proof elections, not free and fair, tamper-proof elections that are accurate, verifiable, simple, and conducted in a neutral manner as required by the Constitution, including terminating the presidential elections at the constituency and doing away with the bombers or any national tallying center. Then, number 4 would be to look seriously at devolution and make sure that the governance of the devolved units is given slightly more attention than it's receiving right now. Uh, money funds follow devolved functions, but also people in the devolved units are held to account. There's a lot of pilferage and theft in the county governments. And then finally, of course, related to that is the question of public finances. And that's where the mother of all problems lies. For me, would be to separate the treasury from the executive. The constitution requires it at Article 225, Clause 1, but we have not done it. So we take the treasury away from the presidency. The president will move from being a lion to being a small cat. And that way, the judiciary will have oxygen to breathe, parliament will have oxygen to breathe. Just take money away from the president and put it in parliament by making by hiving the treasury away from the executive, the Minister of Finance, and running the treasury strictly like any bank could be run, whereby money is withdrawn based on what the budget says and approval of the control of budget. And the budget that is made by parliament becomes the tool that governs the distribution of resources in the country, not proximity to the president. Right now, you are told that you have to be loyal to the president to get development. It should not be like that. It should be in the budget so that every MP who has a say, who is given a say in the budget, is able to influence how the budget is made, and it represents their people. And at the end of the day, they give the president to implement through the executive and hold him accountable at the end of the day when the work has been done. But the current situation whereby wherever the president is, mini budgets are made. You have seen that at funerals where the president attends public functions, the local leaders come up and say, we need this, we need that, we need the other. That has been a total distortion of the country. Also, this money you see running around in churches, big harambes. Right now, you see Kindik running with a lot of money, trying to bribe people to say that the government is working. That money has not been budgeted for. That money is being stolen from the consolidated fund. And the reason is that the consolidated fund is managed by the president. So if there's anything we need to do in this country, is to control public funds, is to lock up public money away from the presidency, get a national treasurer who is a professional, independent, with job security, and ensure that only authorized expenditure in the budget is the one that we incur. Even loans, only those loans that have been approved by parliament are the ones that we accept. If we do that, we drain the swamp, and Kenya and everybody will sober up, and politics will not be a means to making money, to becoming rich. Politics will be a means for serving the people and making a legacy.
Mheshimiwa,
Yeah.
there is a question here. When you look at many Kenyans are not happy with the opposition party, they are claiming that they have one enemy who is Ruto, rather to get away with Ruto's regime. But when you see that many the opposition is not well organized as it is being claimed, that if the goal is one, why should you guys come up with one person to make sure that they are getting away with this regime?
I think the issue is not simply the question of getting rid of Ruto. For me, the question is replacing Ruto. That's why I always say replace Ruto, not what the other people say. I say replace Ruto, which means what should come in place of what we have. And replacing Ruto is a tall order. It must have an agenda. Ruto must go with a very simple order. Anything can take over, even a cat, even a cockroach can take over. But replacing Ruto is a more difficult agenda. So we must have a very clear agenda that leads us to the Kenya we deserve, which is the Kenya that the Constitution and the national anthem describe. So my prayer would be that we get a government that can implement the Constitution. Now, some of the people who are in the opposition are jilted. It's not that they're opposed to Ruto, but they feel that Ruto has treated them badly, and they would like to have the same power Ruto has and do the same thing that Ruto is doing, because they were doing them when they were in power, when they were friends with Ruto. So what I would be praying is that we replace Ruto, and to replace Ruto means implementing the constitution. So there are very many people who are in the masquerading in the opposition as opposition, who know that if you implement the constitution, they will not have peace. So they would rather that the confusion continues and Ruto is isolated as an enemy. But the struggle is beyond an individual, beyond replacing Ruto, beyond just removing Ruto from power. The struggle is about getting credible leadership for this country to move forward based on the constitution of the republic. And so maybe as we go forward, when people now get to the stage whereby they begin giving us their ideological frameworks and manifestos, we'll be able to see people with common ideas coming together and moving. But even when they're divided, the opposition, we should recognize that the current constitution does not allow anybody to win by a simple majority. Like President Moi won when he ran with Dr. Matiba and Odinga and what have you. That time, it was just a simple majority. Right now, you must get 50% of the votes plus one. Now, 50% plus one automatically means that sometimes the more people you have running, the higher the chances that you'll have a runoff between number one and number two. And that will automatically give you two candidates. So we might not make it in the first round, but in the second round, it'll be two front runners will take it again over against each other. So me, I don't have very big fear that people must come together and sell what I said, kuuza sura